we are continuing with our formative assessment tasks, activities, and questions. We are looking at how we can do justice to all this, so that at the end you all get that right. Okay. We were on activity number 32, and I asked you guys to look at that, and today we can see how you coined around answering all these questions. Anyone who came up with something there on activity 32.1? Evaluate one or more policies that your organization has implemented according to Dunn's criteria. According to Dunn, he gave us some steps. Look at your policy from your organization and evaluate it. Look as to whether it conforms to that, or there are some differences, or there are some steps that you have added, or there are some other things that you did which are not mentioned in Dunn's model. Anything you came up with, guys? How did you answer that?
Sorry, cannot comment. I had left the class for a meeting, as I had indicated after lunch that I'll be leaving early. So, yeah, can't comment there.
Okay, what I'll do, guys, remember yesterday I promised that because I'm aware people are experiencing all these blackouts, and it might be difficult for others last night to can look into all these things. So yesterday I promised that I'll give you some time this morning so that you look at that, and then we discuss what you found out, okay? So that I don't keep on giving you answers, all the activities. So that at least you can look into that and relate, look at how you could answer that. And then we will tackle them and see whether, you know, there are some other things that you might have left out or not as a group. Okay, because remember I said, when we give people classes, some people vanish. You find that it's only one person left in that class, and work is derailed. We are unable to finish on time. So you have seen that we have pushed quite a lot. We are only left with these 3. So let's just do justice to them. Let me give you an opportunity. Look at that, and when we come back, then it is just like when you are in class. Okay. It's just like when I've divided you into classes, because we are few now. You can see we are about 12 or 11 actually. So there's no need for me to subdivide you into classrooms. We are very few. Let us look into that individually. If you want to discuss, you can discuss. I'll be quiet and listening to how you tackle. Okay. Remember on Tuesday I was asking who can be our, our coordinator. Anyone who can, take up the job and say, guys, let us look at this. What do you think? What? So that I don't dominate everything. All right. So I'll be listening. And how much time will you need for activity 32? Let's agree on that. How much time should I give you guys?
I think an hour will do. Oh, an hour 30.
Okay, let me give you up to 10 o'clock. Because I'll be listening. I'll be seeing if you're faster and I can see that you are already on number 5. Then I can get in and say, okay, guys, let us see what is your final say on 1, 2, on 3, on 4, on 5, and then we go to the next one. Okay, if not, I can give you an extended time. Remember, we have enough time. We still have the whole day, and then we have tomorrow, probably until 1. because the summative, remember, you'll be doing that yourself, but I'll be explaining what you need, the evidence and everything that you must collect and how you can do it, you know, so it won't take us that much time. Okay, we can do that up until 1 tomorrow. We can even go back and look at all the activities for people who kept on missing some of the sessions, you know, just wind up everything after we are through so that, you know, everyone is on board. Okay, guys? So let me give you until 10. Okay. So, someone to lead the conversation? Anyone, guys? Any volunteer? Simply, you'll be looking at the question, you'll be asking, you'll be saying, okay, let us look at number 1, read it out, and let, or you can say, let me give you, you know, 15 minutes to look at these questions and probably look at the section where it says, please answer activity 32, because probably that's where you'll find most of the information. And then from there, after that 15 minutes that they've looked into that, you come back, you say, guys, I think we have all looked into, you know, what it entails. Go to number 1. What do you think about this one? Okay, people say, but Dan's model says this and this. In my organization, my policy on this and that, you know, talks about 1, 2, 3. But I think we've missed here and there and whatever. Remember, guys, we have got different policies. Okay, so you can say, okay, in my organization, this and this and that. But the idea is when you are going to write, it will be on your policy, but you'll be seeing that this is how you can answer it. All right. Remember, there's no answer that is wrong because it is your policy. We don't know that policy. It belongs to your organization. All right. But just let's have, you know, an idea so that we can see whether, you know, you have followed Dan's model or, you know, you came up with other models. Okay. Any volunteer? I take it we are all leaders here. We always present so many times. Anyone? I've got Nomsumbuluko. I've got Nomaso. I've got Nomtev. I'm just looking at the ends. One of you ladies, I saw you are powerful ladies. Anyone from you guys? Oh, Sizwe. You want to help us? Matungan.
Salim morning. I'm trying to turn off my camera.
No problem, even if you turn off your camera. It's okay.
Morning, yeah.
Okay, will you help us?
I've just joined. I didn't have.
You've just joined.
Yeah, I was having load shedding and no internet connection. Yeah.
Okay, TK. Tate Kwadi.
Mr. Block, load shedding yampolaya mo Kempton Park. Load shedding, so yeah, break, come on.
Okay, guys, what I'll do is let me give you look, it's already 13 minutes past. Let me give you up to 10:15. And when we come back, we'll look at how you looked at the questions and how you think we should answer those. All right. I will lead the conversation. Okay. But let me give you time for those who did not have enough time last night. Also had load shedding actually with me it wasn't 4 hours because instead of taking them by 8, according to schedule, 7 o'clock, 10 to 7, lights were off. Then until 12 o'clock. So you see, it's more than 4 hours. Then after that, 1, 2 o'clock, gone. Then it came back this morning at 6. Okay, so you see, sometimes they don't even follow their own schedule because of maybe those reasons they're giving there. Okay, guys, on 10:15, I stop everything and then we look at what we found out. Remember, go to Dan's model, okay? Okay, and then look at these questions. Okay, guys, can we look at what we came up with?
Can I start, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Caesar, before you start, Donald, there's 3 colleagues that are saying they have a connectivity issue as a result of load shedding. So they ask that we make you aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that's Lava, Sonto, and Faye. Thanks. Sure.
Yeah, we were talking about it before we started. I was talking to Butali to say some students might experience challenges because of this 4 hours, and after 2 hours, another 4 hours. So you might not have your system fully charged, you know, especially our computers. Okay, thank you, guys. You were about to say?
It's Caesar who was about to speak. Caesar, if you are on mute.
Caesar, you're still with us. You are muted, Caesar. Caesar?
It was not Caesar, I think so. It was Caesar Simbin.
Okay, anyone can start. Okay.
All right.
Simbene, you can start.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm tackling question question 1 on activity number 32.
Yeah.
The question says evaluate 1 or more policies that your organization has recently implemented according to the DANS criteria. Is 6 marks. I started by explaining what is policy evaluation. According to the DANS, what is he expected? He expect efficiency, effectiveness, adequacy, equity, responsiveness, and appropriate fitness.
Yeah.
Now I took a policy on the carpenter apprentice program in our organization. The process of recruitment of 25 learners to the program on the induction was done on the stipulated time. Hence, I can say this, according to the DAN, it was effective. And on the implementation of the plan, the learners should go to the host employers after every 6 months. And at this stage, it becomes a challenge because some of the host employers delay to sign the memorandum of agreement. And we have to make follow-up, and we end up overspend the budget that was stipulated. And according to Dan, this policy is efficiency. Now, every learner is expected to be in class. How do we measure this? He sign or she sign in and out on the attendance register. Every learner is expected to do the task which is stipulated or assigned to him or her and finish it. Every learner is expected to get their stipend from the construction SETA, as SETA is our funder. And every learner is expected by SETA to have a fully personal protective equipment. And every learner should get his or his stipend every month. Hence, I can conclude that equity is being applied as learners get their benefits according to the objective of the organization. The research process here, we are using when we collect the data, construction SETA visit the college and interview the learners. And we also have monthly reports that we send to our variable stakeholders. And every month we have meetings with them. And this gives us our research, the way we communicate with them, we're able to collect the data. What is the reason for our evaluation? We want to ensure the progress of the learners because they will undergo trade testing by the year 2024. And we want to give them better support and to meet the objectives of the organization as well as the NDP 2030, which is national. Question number 2, they say, hindsight, do you think the police was properly evaluated? Yes, it was properly evaluated as we have managed to see the efficiency on our police. Question number 3, examine whether the police was evaluated internally or externally. I will start with internally. In our organization, we do evaluation each year to see the progress of our learners. Externally, the construction SETA do their site visits and they also receive their monthly reporting. And the NAM or National Artisan Moderation Body also evaluate our workshop for accreditations. The QTCO ensure that the learners are working in a conducive working environment. Number 4, critical assess the recommendation made, if any, and if they were implemented. Here I respond in this way. The host employers should sign the memorandum of agreement at least a month before to avoid those delays, and there should be enough budget to visit the learners while they are on the host employers. I stopped here. I didn't finish number 5. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Guys, what is your take on his answer? Anyone, guys, to comment on the answer that he has given? Did you use all the criteria according to Dan? Guys? Anyone? I think we were all listening to how he answered this. According to the policy that they have, efficiency, effectiveness, adequacy, equity, responsiveness, appropriateness. You see, after you have given that background of how things are done, then you say it was efficient because of this, like you said, and effective, okay? Adequacy, okay? The outcomes, say because this happened, we're able to see the difference in this and that, then that outcome shows that there was adequacy. Equity, we could see that everyone had a chance, to be evaluated, but also to get stipend and all those other things. So equity was also evaluated, and it was then said to have been done or achieved. But also responsiveness. Okay, the needs, of course, the policy was able to meet the needs of the incumbents or the customers or the clients or our students. Okay, appropriateness also, that it was appropriate because it was worthwhile. It was valuable for the students because at least they were able even to get, you know, their aspirations fulfilled. They were able to get jobs after that, or, you know, all right. So you see, you have answered all of them, and you have mentioned these elements. All right. And on the second one,
right.
Yeah. So that we can see that you have used all of them, even though you said it, because whatever you have said from the start up to the beginning, it was fine. But keep on putting in those ways that it shows that it was efficient, shows that it was, when you started, it was fine with efficiency and effectiveness. Okay. But equity, we could see that in your statement, but mention the word equity, because the important thing here is to say it according to Dan's criteria. His criteria is looking at all these 6 elements. All right. And the second one, on in hindsight, do you think the policy was properly evaluated? There you are spot on. The policy was internal, externally. You explained it very nicely for 5 marks. Because it was both internal and external. Internal, you showed how you were able to do it, but externally also that you had all those bodies coming in to verify, the sitters and the board. Critical assess the recommendations made, if any, and if they were implemented. Okay, I didn't get it clearly here. Were there recommendations that were from internal or external? Because we just said that learners had to, and we have to add what and time and all those things. But was it from internal or external? And did you implement that? All right. Now this one, I think for 4 marks, you just have to state as to whether was there any outcome politically. Okay. The role of politics on the outcome. Okay. Did politics play a role in realizing the outcome? Okay. Did you have any political interference? Did you have any political support from, politics? It can be either from parties, it can be either from municipality, it can be either from, so because politics does not necessarily mean that this party comes and is against this. Okay. Politics is wide. All right. But thank you on that score, and thank you so much. The other guys, what is your take on your own policies? Anyone? Felicia? Felicia? Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I've got a problem. I'm not sure whether you can hear me clearly now.
We can. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Because I've got a problem with my speaker here. I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. Question 32. Policy evaluated. I've chosen the acting appointment policy in our department. And I've said its objectives is to set out the conditions that informs payment of an acting allowance in the department, and then the department must amend or review the provisions of this policy if need arise. And it's effective and efficiency. when it comes to the appointment of an eligible employee to act on that position. And then the payment should be appropriately. And then what did I say? The employee has to be given a chance to prove themselves in acting on that certain position that is available or that is vacant. And then question 332.2. Yes, it was. Yes, it was properly evaluated. I've said this because an appropriate employee was appointed to act, and then the acting allowance was paid correctly to the qualifying employee, and then the post has been vacant. That was the problem for some time. So an acting employee was needed. Okay, I went to question 32.3. The policy has been evaluated internally because waiting for the vacant post to be advertised was going to take long. So an acting was the easiest way to solve this problem at the moment. Then the major progress, policy objectives. And then where am I? Okay, and then our minister used to visit us manually or to check if everything is in order. And then the site visit also has been done in order to check whether workers are accommodated properly and the working environment is accommodative. Okay. I think I've stopped there, Mr. Dawn.
Okay. Now, as
Yes.
I was talking also to Mr. Simbine there, to say on the criteria of Dawn, you said all those things which you did, but did they show efficiency, effectiveness? Was there equity when you were evaluating? You were able to see equity? Were you able, to see that the outcomes are responsive to what you had in mind? Like you were saying, there's been vacant for quite long. So using the policy, at least we had someone there, and the outcome is that now, work was now being done, and things were going right. So it was responsive to what you had in mind, okay? But also, and you were satisfied with everything that was happening. And was it appropriate? Because sometimes the policy might say this, and you find that it's not necessarily resolving the challenge, you see. So it resolved the challenge, that policy, because it allowed them to shoot every person, and the person was able to do the work, and you see, so it was appropriate to what we had in mind. All right, that is nice. And if it was properly evaluated, it's fine. If you say then the policy allows us that evaluation should be done maybe quarterly and half yearly, okay? Because we monitor and evaluate, all right? You say no, it was evaluated properly because we had quarterly reports where we looked into whether we were meeting the objectives, okay, of what the policy is saying, or of the incumbent after he got into that position, whether they was doing the correct thing and according to what he's supposed to do. All right. So the policy allows you to do that. And also internal, externally, it's okay because you talked about how you were doing it, and that you also had the minister from outside, from external avenue, that he was there to come and look into how you've implemented that. All right. And the recommendations, I think probably there were some recommendations on whether something else should be done, and that you did implement them, or no, it was not necessary because it was not necessarily aligned to the policy. Okay. because you'll give your reasons if not implemented. Okay? And did any politics play a role there on the outcomes? Do you think the outcomes, like improved service delivery, had any political inclinations or not? You know, did you have any support or anything that the politicians or, you know, the politics of the area or the community or the department played a role in, you know, the policy being implemented or the outcomes being as they were or as they are now? Okay. Then thank you so much. I see that you have quite mastered, you know, how to answer this. All right. Anything from anyone, guys? Thank you so much. Ma'am, do we have Lumka? Thank you to Mr. Simbini and Ma'am Felicia. Lumka?
Yes, Mr. Don, I'm in, but I'm not yet done with this question. So
Yeah.
Can I come later?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We have here, I think, Harriet. Harriet, are you with us? Or we have Noma Sonto raising her hand there. Noma Sonto? Over to you, ma'am. Noma? Okay. Noma might not. Dobisa? Dobisa? The guys are having some difficulties probably. We have Zita. Zita Skosana. Anyone else, guys? We're about 25 guys.
Can I try Mr.
Yes,
Mr. D?
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
It's Tabisile. Can you hear me?
Okay, Tabisile. Okay, let's give you a chance. Nomnebo will come after her.
Okay.
Thank you, Tabisile.
All right. We are on activity 32, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mine was based on providing feedback through the main company WhatsApp group. We working from home, all of us, so we need to provide feedback now and then with everything that is happening on our departments and also on whatever issue that comes up. Okay, so I said it is efficiency, like providing feedback on the main company WhatsApp group. This policy was implemented since we started working from home, as it is the easiest and fast channel of communicating with the team. And based on effectiveness, all team members are responsible to provide feedback, even with the new deal signed, and also with the most important information about the business decisions. And I also have adequacy and responsiveness. This is also the Quest platform that we use in resolving customer queries by problematizing and come up with a solution as soon as we can. That was question number 1. And question number 2, do you think the policy was properly evaluated? I said yes, it was properly evaluated, as this is a request alert if there is an error that needs to be attended by technical department as soon as possible, rather than sending an email and wait for feedback that might come after a few days or a few minutes while the customer is waiting. And I also, number 3, examine whether the policy was evaluated internally or externally. This policy was evaluated on both internally and externally. External stakeholders are also using it to communicate with internal team when they are experiencing errors on the system, and in order for them to receive immediate feedback.
Yeah.
I'm still working on number 4 and 5.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Apologies for that.
Thank you, ma'am. Guys, remember that
Yes.
on number 2, that's why I upload this. On number 2, in hindsight, do you think the policy was properly evaluated? You can simply just say, because it's only 2 marks. Yes, maybe interviews were done or questionnaires, were posted or observations were done. Like Mr. Simbin that time when he said, they kept on, looking into, the students' progress and things like that. That is a way of evaluating. Okay. You can use interview, you can use questionnaires, you can observe. Okay. Or you can get secondary data, like, for example, reports which are there. Okay. So don't be afraid to can just mention that this was done in order to find out as to whether the policy is running well. All right. And I don't think you'll have a problem with number 4 there. Okay, because we're only going to see to look into the recommendations which were made. Okay, either by an external or internal body. It can be maybe your directors or some of the line managers who recommended that, because the policy says people can work from home, blah, 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 blah. I think we might have a challenge on this and this and that. Okay, so we recommend that whilst working at home, please, every day, just, give us what you are doing, maybe your work output weekly. That, either you are planning that this week, this is what we are going to do, I'm going to be doing. And then Friday as to whether you did everything that you planned to do. Okay? So it might be maybe one of the recommendations, because you are working from home. How do you see that people are really doing the job? You see? It can either be, weekly reports, or outputs of what you did throughout the week. And then you can have maybe a template that people fill in. All right? And the hours to say, this is what I was doing, and it was for so many hours. You can see some of the things that for 4 hours for only doing this, So in a way, you can have recommendations that say that. So don't be afraid to say, okay, there was a recommendation that we even asked, members to do 1, 2, 3, or employees to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that we implemented, and it's working well. It's helping you with efficiency. All right. And the last one, of course, is politics. I mean, anyone can. Who said that? Nomasonto. Nomasonto, are you muted? Are you saying I've muted you? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I've unmuted everyone. Okay, try it one more time, Nomasonto. Let me see. No, allow Mike. You are not muted. Okay, thank you. Just try something else. It might be a hiccup or a gremlin that just got into our system. Okay, but guys, I'm happy that we are showing progress on that one. Nomcebo, are you trying?
Yes, I can try.
Yeah, you are not muted. Okay, continue.
Okay. The question is, evaluate one or more policies that your organization has recently implemented according to DAN's criteria. Where am I? My policy is leave policy. The employee is entitled to take whatever leave he or she has accumulated in an annual leave cycle. According to DAN's criteria, what effect will the policy have? The effect is that the employer may not refuse an employee permission to take those 11 days consequent. Another one, which solution should we choose and why? The employer may not force or allow an employee to take annual leave during any other period of leave to which the employee is entitled. The policy implementation will create order as to who is taking leave and when. Number two, I ended on number 2. The policy was properly evaluated. I said yes, it was properly evaluated as it is reviewed annually. Yeah, that's it. I ended the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, in what you are saying concerning leave, do you think the policy was efficient? Was it effective? Was it adequate? Or is there something lacking in the policy? What about equity? Okay. Do you have everyone being fairly treated? Okay, it's fine. You said it, that everyone, okay, not only certain people, but everyone is free to can apply for leave, but also responsiveness. Okay, to say, did it respond to the needs of the people, their preferences? Okay, fine, it responded well because it allowed everyone so that, you know, if then you have got a need to take leave, then you can take it. No one should hinder you from doing that. And it was appropriate, of course, because we could see that people at least were alleviated, because sometimes people are stressed out and they need 2 days to recuperate, and then they are able to do that. So it is appropriate, you know, it's worthwhile actually, and valuable to employees. All right. So that they come back fresh and can continue with their daily tasks. Okay, it's fine. So remember to mention these, because if they say according to Don, you can give us that statement, but you must say this shows that it was efficient. Okay, effectiveness was when we realized that the police was able to do this. Adequacy, that's why when they give you 6 months max, it means we'll give you 1 mark for appropriateness, for equity, for effectiveness, for, you see.
Yes.
All right. And in hindsight, it's fine if you say it was evaluated, because properly evaluated, because that was happening, you know, periodically there, once in 6 months or in 4 months, quarterly. Internally, externally, that's what you have to come up with to say, you know, who was doing that? Were you doing it internally only, or did you even have an external body that was evaluating there to come and get reports and get, you know, all those meetings maybe where you explain to them on how it is, the policy is having an effect on this and this and that. And then obviously they will come with recommendations. And what were the recommendations? Maybe the recommendation was that people should not take leave at once, you know, all of them. You can imagine in a workplace, if then about 7, 8 people take leave at a go, you might not have enough staff to continue, you know, yeah, with the clients or customers. Okay, so maybe one recommendation can be that there were recommendations, more especially on, you know, the timing of the leave, because sometimes, you know, there's a time at work when you know that this period, it's where we are very, very, very busy, you know, maybe like month end, if it's a municipality, you are collecting, you know, people's payment for services. At the end of the month, you know that that first week, you know, maybe the end of the month up to that end of that week, people will be flocking in, asking at work to come and pay and because some people can't do that. You know, some other people are not, you know, IT code, that thing. Yeah. So as a result, they want to come and pay, you know, physically at the office and get a receipt. You see. So one of the recommendations can be no, you know, leave can be taken, but there are certain periods where you can't allow everyone, you know, only few people will be allowed during that time because you'll be busy at that time. You need as many people as possible to can help the queues. All right. So any recommendation that you can say, okay, a recommendation was given and this recommendation was implemented so that everyone now can take leave anytime except what. It was implemented. Okay, so we have seen the outcome there that we don't have long queues at the end of the month. The queues are reduced very fast because we have enough staff. Okay, and the politics, obviously, the role of politics, each and every department has got its own politics, internally, externally. Okay, depending on how you put it. I can't say you are wrong, I can't say you are right, because it revolves around, or it you know, influences how some things are done. Because sometimes we have political interference. You can have you know, some unions, you know, coming up with, you know, their own shenanigans to try and derail, you know, your normal working relationship with your employees at work. It's also part of politics, even if it's labor related. But you can see that some are not necessarily, you know, for the interest of their employee or their members, but just to derail you because maybe they realized maybe the incumbent is belongs to a certain party, you know. So they might include some party politics in there, which might not be necessary. Okay, so you can say maybe because of that, then members started dragging their feet and all those things in implementing the policy. Because remember, you're concentrating on the police, and policies always you will have, you know, some other people who bring in, especially in our country, who bring in some politics into it. You know, it can be internal politics, or it can be politics between the departments. You know, where you find that another department is run by someone who has got other views. You know, and then as a result, when you are in a relationship with that department, because some departments, of course, work in tandem. They help each other with certain things. When you send people to that department, they turn them back, you know. So the outcome is that the people are frustrated because of what? Politics. All right. So anyhow you can put it, it's okay. I understand that. All right. Okay, guys, I'm happy with that. Is there anyone? Is there anyone, or should we go for an early break? Anyone, guys? Mid ladies? Ladies, we are with you.
Yes. Good day to everyone.
Good day, ma'am.
Yes. I want to try on this one on recruitment policy. So I will start with question one that says evaluate one of more policies, which is I take a recruitment policy. In terms of that, in my department, the implementation of it, I started as like this. The recruitment policy in my department is well provided a best practice in terms of recruitment employment procedures to ensure that all objectives of the organizations are attained. More especially to those objectives which are related structurally and operationally effectiveness. So within the department, the democratic of the composition of the workplace is to provide the guidance as a staff or to everyone to comply with the provisions of remember, we are guided with the different legislatives, more especially in terms of the employment equity, in terms of Labor Relation Act, in terms of public service regulations. So in terms of the equity, the organization give everyone the fair chance in terms of to get equal opportunity externally and internally, as long as we start in terms of drafting the layout, which is the advert, to give everyone that is meeting the requirement of that particular post that we have been advertised on that particular time. Okay, that is number one. And then number two, I will come, yes, I will say yes, the policy is properly evaluated, because in my department, we do have the section that we called planning research of the policy, that is the directorate, which is assisted with the owners of the different division. On that one, what I'm in is human resource management. They are part, and then that one is well evaluated. And then in terms of number three, the policy, the question says examine whether the policy was evaluated internally or externally. Yes, it's evaluated to both of them, internally and externally. Here in Mpumalanga, we do have a forum which is called the Human Resource Forum, which involves the Office of the Premier, because most of the time we are guided with the directive that is issued by DPSA, the Department of Public Administration, that gives us each and every time the directives when it comes to the changes that will be effectiveness on that time. So to be uniformly, because remember, we can have one policy, but other department interpreted in the other way. But in order to be in line, we do have that human resource forum that they meet. We meet each and every quarter in order to discuss those directives that has been issued by DPSA, as well as the policies that we are using in line. But most of the is not that, maybe it's commonly that every department must use the same policy, because remember, our objectives and our missions is not the same. So everyone has a opportunity in each department to develop on its policy. And then when it came to number 4, question 4 says critically assess the recommendation made in the implementing of the policy. I will say myself, I will recommend that DPSA sometimes, more especially, we have a policy that we review policy once maybe in a year in terms of the directives or the legislative that has been maybe have some amendment on that time. But at the other time, DPSA is not doing correctly, because in the middle of the year, it issues directives that against the policies that we have. And maybe when I set an example, we do have an advert that is running that we advertise in December, but February, there's another directive that came from the DPSA. It's against that was now we are doing. And when it affects us in terms of the audit, because DPSA says this, our policy says this, and then the legislative says this, and then I will say when I recommend DPSA, if do have to implement something that will be new. For an example, now there's a directive that has been issued by the DPSA that says when you do an application in the public sector, you are not allowed. We are allowed that you are not attached. The qualification is only the Z83 form as well as the CV. and it's against the policy that you are having now. So I will say, if they do have changes, it must be change annually as well as the departmentally, so that we can be in line with them, because it's confusing us. Because if they issue the directive within or in the middle of the year, whereas we already reviewed our policies, so sometimes we are not be in line with that one. And then lastly, in terms of the political role, I assessed something within my department. As I heard you mentioned the organized labor is a huge problem in terms of the recruitment, because it comes up with something that when they sit and their responsibility is to observe, but somehow you find out that like organized labor, it's a part of the panel members. They want to say something, they want to be the part of the selection, they want to be the part of the recommendation, whereas they are not. And at the other side, they do have their hidden agendas. And then at the other side, they want us to not follow the requirements of the post. They come with the term that you want to uplift the upwards mobility, whereas they know that their members, somewhere, somehow, yes, I agree, they do have an experience, but they don't have qualification. So we don't have to maybe to defy the advert as it is, because a person is within the department. Yes, we agree. I agree that upward mobility is an important thing, because when we are in a department, we have to grow if we are within. But at the other side, I also want to make the recommendation that the organized labor must tell their members that, guys, you have to learn or study or capacitate yourself, so that we are not having a problem to defy. Sometimes we end up not continuing with the interviews in terms of that, because organized labor, they're fighting for someone which is not meeting the requirements. That one is a political problem within the public sector. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So in your case, say recommendations we made recommendations, and those recommendations were not implemented, or were not yet implemented. All right.
Yes.
Even if you don't get deep into them, but you can just give an example and say, recommendations, so that the outcomes cannot be tainted. See, because that action taints the outcomes. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. This thing that the department should just send out the directives. Sometimes it disturbs implementation of policy, because now you have to change things somewhere mid-year. Like you were saying. So sometimes it's unfair. These guys, I don't know. Maybe there might be a reason why the district directors send directives. It might be maybe because it's from above. Yeah, but sometimes it disturbs, the normal running and management of policies. Right? I mean, if you don't want, if you are saying people should only fill in as Z83, say that person is appointed. After being appointed, when he or she brings his or her qualifications, when you verify, you find that they are fake, or they are not, or they are from institutions which were not properly registered and things like that. Now you have to go back and say to this person, but these things are wrong and what. You've already appointed the person, So yeah, I don't know what's the thinking behind that, but they have their reasons. But it will only be, you know, time wasting that after you've appointed, go back and what. And it's like this thing of arguing during interviews and things like that, because that's what will happen. Once the recruitment is disturbed somewhere, sometimes the department goes to an extent of freezing the post. and the institution is the one that is suffering because you can't have a person. And you wait for next year for the post to be re-advertised, you know. In the meantime, we're having challenges with staff complement. All right. So those are some of the politics that you can mention. All right. I don't know what's your take on that. You only look at Z83, you look at a person's CV, and you make a decision. But after that person has been given appointment letter and he or she has signed it, then bring the certificates and you find that, those qualifications are not as the person has stated in the CV. Now, how you go back? Mutalipula, did you want to say something on that score?
Blessing, even though there is a directive that says that a person must not submit certified copies of the qualifications, it does not stop the HR processes of verifying the qualifications before the appointment. Remember, the directive says you must not include the certified copies with the application, but you will have to submit those hard copies of your qualification before or on the date of the interviews. That gives the HR department and employer enough time to verify your qualifications before they can issue an appointment letter. Remember that that directive does not give us that we must do the wrong things. Every process, the process, HR process says you have to vet qualification and verify before you can issue an appointment. You understand? Because once you have already issued an appointment, you cannot say that, you don't have qualifications or your qualifications are fake. Therefore, I withdraw this appointment. It will be procedurally unfair. And it will land up maybe in labor courts that you failed to do your duty as employer.
Yeah, understood, ma'am. As a former unionist and a former manager myself, sometimes it was working in our favor that some people, if you get their qualifications earlier with their application, you can see whether this one must be invited for interviews or not. Because once a person, those 5 people are there for interviews, it's because you looked at their, qualifications as one of the criteria. And that, no, they've got this and that and they can. So you have left other people because of the CVs. And these 5 people, before, of course, appointment, but you've already interviewed them. So if all of them have got challenges there with their qualifications, you have to go back, either re-advertise or, I don't know. But of course, it's when things are changing, it's like that. But thank you for that clarification, ma'am. Can we continue to the last one? Evaluation methods. Are you with me?
Yes, with you, sir.
Yes, we are back.
Yes, sir, we're back.
The policy framework for monitoring and evaluation provides a systematic approach to monitoring and evaluation policies. Find out more on the framework by reading the following content and then answer the tasks. Appendix 2. We have been struggling to say Yeah, sorry about that. Just an apology on not attending and citing all challenges that she's experiencing, but it's fine. Let's go, guys. Apologies on that one. We are saying, guys, that Appendix 2 was not provided, and as a result, yeah, the other one saying my connection is not clear. Yeah, these are the challenges that we are experiencing, guys. People really have got challenges, with logging in and having their systems down because of in out of electricity. Yeah, others are writing there. You can see one is saying also that she's experiencing challenges there. But we do understand. Now, don't worry about that Appendix 2, because the questions really don't need us to go to on-campus contact sessions, maybe what. An option. I don't know what's the meaning of that. Someone has sent a message on campus contact sessions. Maybe
it means on campus classes.
Yeah, I'm not aware if there are any classes which are done on campus.
No, what I'm saying is that with the problem that we're having, it will be ineffective for us to continue in this way. We may have to look at having an option of doing on-campus sessions.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we were still going to say we are looking into that. We must because if others are content with online, others are having challenges, then we'll have to arrange online as well as campus so that we can have facilitator for both. Okay. Sometimes what happens is, I've seen it last time, you have people in class for contact and you do online whilst they are in class. Those who follow you online can do that. But you can also, because these guys in class can hear you and they're there with you. And when you give those others work, they also do the work. Right. Last time we did that with some of the students. Okay, but if we have time, we ask other facilitators to take over online, others to be present at the campus. It can be on different dates. Okay, so I think Vitali is also listening to that, and we can arrange it with Regenesis. Because I see we were expecting 52 guys here. So I can see that others were unable, maybe due to different reasons. So we'll talk about it with Vitali and the other guys and see what you can do about it. Okay. Thank you on that score. Interrogate the principles of monitoring and evaluation and discuss how they contribute to the internal policy governance of your organization. Okay. So when you look at this question, you just have to look at the principles of monitoring and evaluation, and look as to whether in your organization you will be able to implement those, because it only says discuss how they contribute to the internal policy governance of your organization. And then the second one says assess the role of leadership in the evaluation of your policies. Okay? Increase the screen, right? Okay, is it fine, guys? The one who said I should increase the screen. All right. Interrogate the principles of, and then assess the role of leadership in the evaluation of your policies. Okay. What leadership is doing to ensure evaluation of policies? Of course, you have got certain. You need to go back to the window. What? Yeah, that is for a person who's struggling there. Okay, the role of leadership during evaluation. We know that during evaluation, we have got different ways of evaluating. And what is leadership doing? What is the role of leadership during the implementation of those policies? Okay. Now, if you take an example of what Simbin was saying, you can see that leadership is involved. Okay. Even if you will have external guys, but internally, and I've also seen with Felicia and the other guys that they are hands-on. Okay. But what is their role actually? In ensuring that those policies are effective, efficient, and all those things. What action? What do they do? Right? Then assess the different data collection methods and determine which formative evaluation methods. Data collection methods are different. Remember, earlier I even talked about the different data collection methods there, like records, interviews, and all those. Okay, so in your book there, you can see the different data collection methods which are stated there. Okay, where you have interviews, where you have focus group interviews, where you have things like I just want to put it so that you can see it there. Okay. Ethnographic analysis, message or forms analysis, expert judgment. Okay. You've got different methods that you can use there. You can have focus groups, you can have observations. All right. Let me just see if I can put them there on the screen. There you have them. Now, do you see the different data collection methods there? Okay, because remember, when you evaluate, it's like a form of research, not necessarily because remember, you're going to have a report after that. So you use a research method. Okay, you collect data. Collecting data can be, you can interview people, you can go there, physically and observe how things are done, whether the policy meets the certain criteria or not, whether it is really efficient, is it really resolving the challenges that you had in mind, is it meeting the objectives, and things like that. Okay, but also you can have interviews. You can observe, but also use that based on the reports that you get, just to verify. Because sometimes people give you weekly reports and monthly reports, and if you don't go there and ensure that those reports are authentic, it might be difficult for you to make decisions. Okay, message or forms analysis. Okay, normally interference there. Who is there? Okay, normally what people do is they rely only on reports and communication messages and all those other things, and they don't really get deep into what it entails and what it says to them. But you can make sense of that. Okay, or you can have a panel of experts who come there and ensure that things are as portrayed. Okay, or sometimes you can use certain instruments. Okay, to say if this instrument is like this, you fill it in according to what is happening there, and then you make your it's like stats, and then you analyze, and then it tells you so many has done that, 13 and what, and all those other things. You can take maybe on absenteeism, you can take that thing. Attendance register, you can take maybe, the book that you sign always when you come to work, and then also look at the output, what those people say they've done. Then you can see that per week, these guys did not really have influence on what is expected of them, or their performance did not meet expectations, all right, and things like that. So there are many ways and many tools and methods that you can use to evaluate, to collect data for evaluation. All right. So you'll say in our department, maybe you use observation, or interviews, or okay, so that you want to see as to whether the policy meets the expected outcomes or objectives. Okay. So that is the question there, to say which methods of data collection are you going to use in order to see the effectiveness of your policy. All right. So interrogate and then assess the different data collection methods. Obviously, they must be suited to your organization. I mean, in other organizations, it might be difficult to have a focus group. Like, for example, when you said you are working from home, yeah, it might entail a lot of work to do that. But if people are always there, you say, okay, today at this time, or on this date, by this time, I want you in one room, you go to the boardroom, and right, then we have that focus group interview. Or, of course, it might happen online, but sometimes it's better when you are physically there, because it's easier for people to just raise their hands, and sometimes to even touch in on some of the questions that you're asking. It's more controllable, right? But with questionnaires, it's easy, because you can send out questionnaires to people even online, and then they fill that in, and then you can see, what challenges are there and all those things, depending on the questions that you are going to set on or to have on your document there, or the questionnaire sheet. All right. So, guys, let us look at this. All right. What do you think it's looking at? That number one. What do you think it is all about? That's number one. Anyone, guys, what is your take on that one? Is the last one? Arinsen Lotum.
It's Nomasonto say. Can I try? I think here
Yes,
we're looking at the characteristics of monitoring and evaluation tools that are used.
Okay. The other guys, what's your take on that?
Thank you, Kim Kuena. The principles of monitoring and evaluation, and for them to contribute to the internal policy or governance, is that governance also has to do with effectiveness, accountability, transparency, fairness, as principles. So if the principles of monitoring and evaluation are those that are also in the governance policy as well, then it supports each other. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone with another view? Anyone with another view, guys? Anything, guys? Fairness, accountability, What is your take on that? Look, you can't just start by monitoring and evaluating. There are certain things you have to look at or to look into. Okay? What elements are there for monitoring? Hmm? You are looking at achievement of policy goals and objectives. Okay? You are looking at the resources. You are looking at management of time. Okay? Information, quality, all those things. All right. If you remember with monitoring, you talked about input, process, output, outcome. All right. But you also say you have got tools that you use. Okay, like the bar charts and documents, reports, schedules, and remember you even talked about work breakdown structures and budgets, cash flow, and all those other things. Okay. But now you are looking at measuring objectives. You have got indicators. Okay. You have got records. Okay. You have got capacity within your organization there. All right. So as a result, when you are going to look at all those things, okay, you'll be saying, are we fair? Okay. Are we on what was expected? Okay. So you include almost all the things that can help you to monitor and to evaluate there. Okay. All right. That's why I was saying that in monitoring and evaluation, you are looking at fairness. You are looking, because you don't want other people to say you were unfair. You used this on us. On the other guys, when you're monitoring them, you used that. Okay. Other people might also complain to say the work was too much for us. That's why we are unable to. All right. Now, this time we are looking at internal policy governance. Okay. Internally, on ensuring that the policy is being implemented, professionally and fairly to everyone, and So, what are you going to look at? I think I've pushed enough there. All right, not far from what you were saying, but what other things are you going to look at?
I think it also needs to be we need to have a baseline data and the target. A baseline data and a target to measure if by implementing that policy where the changes or improvements.
If there are any improvements. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because remember, you have got the planning and design stage, okay? But you have the implementation stage, okay? And the completion also, now you are going to evaluate, okay? But when you're monitoring, you are looking into how things are done, right? You are also looking at whether the policy is really, working towards achieving the objectives that you had when you first came up with the policy, because you had objectives. Okay, that's why. But also the scope of that that policy. All right. That's why then you have to to come up with data, to come up with all those other things there. Okay. Any other guys, any other one who can give us an idea on other things that we have to look into when we monitor and evaluate?
Can I try, Mr. Block?
Yes,
I was thinking of one, I think what is important, the purpose of the evaluation must be clearly stated, and it mustn't be selective. It mustn't be selective. And people, they must see fairness at the end of the day, and people, they must feel free and not being intimidated. So, yeah, so that at the end of the day, we achieve the organizational goals. And also the methods of doing the evaluation. I think people, they need to be equipped or trained so that they can understand these methods.
I like the way you put it there. The purpose, because you can't monitor if you don't know what the purpose of the policy was. What are you monitoring the policy on? First, what was the purpose? Okay. And also remember, you have got the issue at hand, which is the main thing. Okay. Sometimes we call it a strategic issue. What is the issue? Or we can say the problem or the challenge. Because when you come up with a policy, you are trying to resolve a certain challenge. You are trying, to meet expectations, either of the management of the organization on its purpose. Okay. But something else, you talked about fairness. It's okay. Because you are sometimes a policy might be implemented only to find that it's not fair on other guys. Okay. So those principles are very important. All right. But also you are looking at the resources. Okay. You are also looking at the resources to say, are the resources befitting the policy? Because sometimes you can have a policy, but if you don't have the resources to implement, or say, for example, finance, a staff complement, skills, leadership qualities of people who will be implementing those policies, will be making sure or overseeing the implementation of those policies, enough personnel to can help you with the implementation. Because remember, you'll implement that policy via what? Programs or projects or actions. All right? Like in your case where you say, this is what you do, this is what you do, but it's based on policy. Okay? That you have learners who are doing this, and you monitor them, and you ensure that they're doing things according to what the policy is saying. You see, that's part of leadership, of what leaders do. All right? In playing an oversight role. But also in managing the implementation of that policy. Okay. So you are having all those nitty-gritties there. So how will you then answer this? The principles of monitoring and evaluation, and discuss how they contribute to the internal policy governance of your organization. What will you say? Just give us an example of, you say, well, on such a policy, I'm going to, to ensure that we have this. I'm going to look at that, okay? Because it's important that when you monitor, you should have, understand the purpose of that policy, so that you are able to monitor as to whether is it really serving the purpose, okay?
Okay, Mr. Block. Can I come in on this one? For an example, if we talk about the finance policy at school, remember the South African Schools Act mandates the governing body to establish a school fund and administer it in a proper way. So, for an example, some of the governing body members are not educated or clear about their roles and responsibilities. So I think it's very important that all the stakeholders, they need to be trained, or they need to be trained on their roles and responsibilities. And again, the district officials as the evaluators of the implementation of the policies of the education department, I think they need to make sure that they are consistent, fair when it comes to the implementation of the evaluation report. For an example, if they visit the school for evaluating the finances of the school, they need to make sure that they communicate their report with the relevant stakeholders. For an example, they visit the school and they meet the principal because the governing board is not at school. So they meet the principal. So some of the principal, they don't communicate that report with the governing body members. As a result now, principals will implement things because they have the information left behind the governing body members. So you'll find that there is no communication, a clear communication between the findings of the report from the evaluators about the finances. And some of the governing body members they are not clear, they are not on the same page. So which creates a problem in many schools when it comes to the functions of the governing board, when it comes to finances. And also some of the officials of the department, they use the evaluation report wrongly because from the findings, you'll find that they use those findings to charge people, they target people.
Yeah.
For an example, in the governing body, there are members which are also educators there. So if you are part of an SGB, you are expected to be as an educator, for an example. So whatever that is implemented by the SGB, it's a collective decision. So now they will single out the educators. Will find that educators are becoming targets in those situations. So that's why I'm saying when the departmental officials implement these policies or principles of evaluation, I think there should be differentiation between evaluation report and an investigative investigation report. And also separation of duties. What is the role of each member in implementing the policy? Thank you very much.
Okay, that's why we were talking about capacity building, institutional arrangement for capacity building. Okay, objectives. All right. Now, internally, okay, we understand that is from the external body when they come for what do you call it, whole school evaluation. All right, but internally, you as say the headmaster, or you as the director within your department, or you being the line manager there, and implementing policies and things like that, having members there who help you with the implementation, your team there. Okay, you are looking at what actually is the purpose. What are the objectives? Okay, and then you should have indicators. That there must be something that we know we are going to use. It's so disheartening and very frustrating when you see people barging into your institution and say, we want this, we want that, we want that book, we want that file, we want this, we want this. Why didn't you do 1, 2, 3? You understand? That is policing. It's more on witch hunting, like you are putting it. But if we know the requirements, okay, to say, these are the things we'll be looking at. All right. These are the things. That's why you have got you have got a year plan in which you know when will we have a visit. And with that visit, it is strictly on this and this and that. It will be looking at that. It's unlike whole school evaluation is going to look at almost everything. All right, from that thing, management of finances to everything there. Okay, but the thing is you as a manager. Okay, for you to say the policy is not working well or what, you must have a framework. You must have things that you are going to use, okay, and the things that you are looking at. What's the purpose of this this thing, and what are the objectives, okay, and what is the capacity? What is the skills of the personnel that you have? Okay, because sometimes you might have people who are not that skilled, and interpretation of certain policies might be difficult on them. And if they don't, if they overlook some of the stipulations of the policy, then you blame them and you want to bring them to book and all those other things. Okay, so internally you must ensure that you know what the policy is all about. You know your staff complement. Their skills and everything. Okay, that's capacitate them if they are not. Okay, which records will you be looking at? What indicators will be saying to you, this is happening well, something is going wrong here? You must have indicators. You must have something that's going to say to you, like, for example, if this is happening, it means then that. Okay, and then you must have targets. You see, so it's like, have you done monitoring and evaluation as a module? Right, guys?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Because we put what we do in the departments via the GPSA's government-wide monitoring evaluation system. All right, which is from the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation. Remember, it was started by the late Mr. Collins Shaban. All right. Now, based on that, we are trying to remove which hand, and we are trying to be fair on everyone. Hence, we say we must have templates, so the person knows what to fill in. After a certain period, you fill this in. That's why we say people should plan and say, this is our plan for this week. This is what I'll be doing. At the end of the week, maybe week outputs to say, this is what I did, and for so many hours. Then you can see whether these things are being implemented as expected. Okay? So that everyone is equal before the law. All right. But the important thing is, what are you aiming to achieve? Okay. What templates do you have? What objectives are you looking at achieving through that policy? So obviously, when you come, you're going to look into whether you are meeting those objectives or not, so that you can see where the policy is redundant or the policy is not really actually according to what it was intended to do. All right? That's why now what are you going to do? We are going to have, to collect data also, which is what is going to say to you whether things are happening as expected or not. All right? You are going to look at records. All right? You are going to ensure that people are aware of what is expected of them. Okay? What is the policy all about? Okay? The cost effectiveness of the policy. Okay. Is it costing you or the section or the organization or the institution or the unit more than what it is bringing? Okay? Because sometimes if it's not cost effective, then it means you are using more. All right? Hence, you even include all those things we talked about in efficiency, appropriateness, and all those things. All right. So look into the main issues that you say will help you in governance of your organization through that policy. You see, I'm also experiencing load shedding here, but I think you can still hear me because I think my battery is still full and yeah. Okay. Although sometimes you start having some cuts here and there. Of policies. All right. Okay, but what will be the role of leadership? What data collection methods are you going to use? I gave you an example of okay. Should I now say, let us look into this? I give you time, and you give me an example of a policy, okay? And you are saying, with this one, I'll be looking at this and that. I'll be using this principle, this one, maybe fairness. I'll be using, objectiveness and the objectives and the purpose and the effectiveness and all those things are going to help me to govern internally, to govern policies or this policy. All right. Should I leave it to you? This is the last one. Just tell us how you think you will answer these three. All right. We don't have that appendix 2, where I think maybe you have got some things which are written there on that framework. But we don't really have it. I've looked for it everywhere. Last time I talked about it and I was promised we'll do something about it, but you see it's not there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Time frame for implementation of that policy, the scope. Okay. Okay, we do it until at what time? Hi, guys. So you can write and write and write. How many marks? Is it 12 marks? Okay, 30 marks, 12, 10, and 8. How much time? It also minimizes the cuts and what that we're experiencing, because people are experiencing cuts and cuts and cuts, in their sound, in their, hey, this load sharing, guys, really, something must be done about it. Even when it's like this, it's like that. You have cuts and what when I'm here at home. Because that side, then the next moment, others are experiencing this. Then IT has to cut everything and start afresh and say they are still helping other people who are what, and it affects us, So it's better when I'm using my own. Okay, should we say until correct? I think you'll be through. It's not a long activity.
Yes, it's fine.
Is it fine?
Yes.
Yes.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, get into the manual, the workbook, study guide. Look at it and pick up those things that can help you in monitoring and evaluation of policies, you as the governing body there within your institution. Welcome, guys.
Yes, we are back.
All right. I've just placed one of the study guides for masters. When I facilitate a monitoring evaluation for them, these are some of the framework that we use. This is one of the frameworks that we use. I don't want to get deep into government-wide monitoring evaluation, but more or less an idea on, you can see here the goal, okay? Like we're saying, what do you want to achieve? You know, the objectives, the purpose of the policy, all right? Expected outcomes, outputs. But the important thing is the indicator. Remember I said the indicator, something that will show you as you are managing that within your institution. What are the indicators? What are those things that are saying to you this is implemented correctly or not? Okay. But actually, here we say definition. Okay. Now, what is in our case here? What is the important thing that the policy is about? Okay. If you say the policy is for doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and if you want to see whether that policy is meeting the requirements, what is the baseline? What is actually the main situation? Okay, and what is that you want to see? Okay, if you say next year we want that everyone should be able to do 1, 2, 3, okay, then that is your target. Maybe it can be in percentage. 100% of people must be able to do 1, 2, 3. The policy is directing. Okay, so the directive of the policy is that this is what we want to achieve. Okay, and then you can collect that and say, what am I going to use in order to see as to whether I'm meeting the expectation of the policy or I'm meeting the target? Okay, and you can even say how often, that's the frequency. Okay, but also you see the second question was saying, what is the role of leadership? Okay, what is the role of leadership? Okay, and then the reports, you can look at the report to say, what are the reports telling me about this? All right, that's why I was saying you can add a lot of things there that are enabling you to really see as to whether the policy is governed properly or not. All right, but this is strictly for M&E. Okay, you have other many things that we talk about there, like the objective, the indicator, the source, who collects what and when. That's the grid we use in M&E then. Okay, you see there that you want to be developmental. You must address the key development priorities of government. Okay, it must be ethical. Okay, it must be user friendly. It must be you must be able to utilize it. Remember, we said it must be implementable. It must be enforceable. Okay, but also transparency. You see there we talk of transparency. Okay, okay, and it must be participatory. You can look at whether the stakeholders, are participating, like internal stakeholders, for example, those implementers there. Okay, and what can we learn from it? That you can see when you evaluate. Okay, so that policy must be, it must serve the purpose. All right. That's why I was saying I don't want to coin you into specific framework and principles, because you have got different people taking 3, others taking 4, others taking, when you look at research of other guys, they'll say the main principles are these ones. Others will say, no, we can even add 1, 2, 3. Others will say, no, it is purpose, it is objectives, it is transparency, it is financial considerations or the cost of that implementation of that policy and things like that. So different organizations will differ on how which principles they use in their case. That's why I was giving you latitude to say look into how which principles you think will enable you to manage those policies internally. Okay, so you can govern your organization using those policies. What are the things that you are going to use in governing the implementation of your policies or in governing your organization? But you know that there are policies that allow you to do that. Okay, so what are those things that you use in monitoring and evaluating those policies? What are the main issues that you look into? They can say principles, others will say framework, but in a framework, you've got principles, you've got points that you look at. Okay. So you have an idea now that we talked about purpose, we talked about objectives, okay? We talked about cost, we talked about, management, we talked about the people who are implementing their skill, okay? How those people were conscientized about it or how they were developed, or trained in implementing that. We talked about so many things. So in your case, what are the things that you think can help you in your governing of your institution using policies? Okay. What are the things that you'll be looking at in doing that? Okay, I can put it once more on the screen there. All right. Principles of monitoring evaluation and discuss how they contribute the internal policy governance. Okay, if you say purpose, if you say objective of policies, how does that help you govern your organization? Because those policies will be affecting your governance, because you'll be saying, through this, because of this policy, I have the power to can look at 1, 2, 3. Okay. So when you govern, what are those issues that allow you or that you use in order to manage policies internally within your organization? Are you looking at the scope of the policy? Are you looking at the targets that you have set, whether the policies help you realize them? Are you looking, because obvious targets originate from baseline. If then you say this year, we only had 50% people passing. So a policy say that, these are the things that guiding principles that you are going to follow in order for all schools to have 1, 2, 3. That is the objective. But now you set yourself to say, okay, according to the policy, they expect that, the guidelines of the policy are saying this and this and that. But in your institution, you say, okay, since you are only having 50% pass rate, okay, if we follow those principles of the policy, that one of forming what, doing what, talking to other schools and all those other things, it's a directive. I'm just giving an example. So you're saying, what is my target? Because my baseline now is this. How can I improve on that so that I reach the 100% which is required by the policy? Okay. If a policy says 100% of people must always be in staff uniform, maybe it's provided. Okay. So obviously, if you want to implement the policy, what is the purpose? What is the objective? Is that, everyone must have this and that, so that, our what should show professionalism and what. Okay. And you want to achieve that. Now you look at what you have now, which is your baseline, and you set a target. Okay. And then you must have indicators. What is that that's going to show you that you are realizing that objective or that target. Okay, so that the objective can be met, right? Then you have indicators, all right? Now, you can also look at the cost. You can even say resources at your disposal, okay? Because sometimes policies fail because of lack of resources to help us implement them, right? And what will be indicator of success? You know, what is going to say to you, we are successful, okay? Okay, but let us see in your case, we are not strictly on government-wide monitoring evaluation here. We are just on monitoring evaluation as far as policies are concerned, not programs of government. Okay. Let us see what you came up with. Or should we go to lunch? And then when you come back, we respond to this. Hi, guys. And then I can put this so that it give you more or less some idea of what other things can you include in your answer. Can I leave this here? Hi, guys.
Yes.
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
It might help on what you have already. Okay. Then let's take our lunch. I'm just stealing for you from another module from another level 9. Okay, that's why I don't want to get deeper, because you are on 7, and I don't want you to say they give us things that are done by people who are doing masters. It's unfair. That's why I failed. Okay, but there's nothing like failing. We say you are not competent. We don't say you failed. You can tell an adult that it's failed. What will our grandchildren say? Okay, guys. So let us take our lunch, and let's come back at 1:30 and see what we can do, just to finish up this and close it, so that then we can go back, maybe look at some of the how the POE has been completed up to so far. Those who were not in, we help them here and there. And tomorrow, then we can do that tomorrow morning. And after that, we do the summative. Because summative, of course, will just be explaining what is needed. There's no need for us to help each other there. It's unfair. And it's like your exam. But we must help each other to say, I think here we need this, here we need that, All right. And some other things that we feel in. Yeah, guys, let us talk to this number 1, 2, 3, based on the different principles that I've given you.
Yes, sir, we are back. Yes.
Yeah, who can set the tone? Interrogate those principles. How will they help you to govern the organization?
Let me try. Donald, Sizwe here.
Yes,
yeah, I think the application of these principles in the Department of Education where I'm serving can assist in many aspects, like budget decisions, also in question of making decisions. It can also help to check whether the policy we're trying to implement is having an impact, a measurable impact in achieving the goals we have set for ourselves. Also, data collection and analysis always assist to identify gaps in the policy, so that we can, when we do policy review and planning policy for the future, we know what to touch base on. Also, lastly, it can assist, especially because the Department of Education is mostly run by districts all over the country, to strengthen good governance by ensuring that at the level of schools, school management teams and SGPs becomes accountable and become effective in terms of implementing policy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyone, guys? Anyone, guys? Because you're also able to set that targets, based on your baseline. Okay, then you are able to monitor as to whether you are, realizing those targets or not. Okay, so it will really help you, to see whether you are meeting the objectives and whether the purpose of the policy has been realized. The other guys, in your case, Ndate Masilo, you wanted to say something? Mr. Rakwali. Mekuhlasi. Anyone, guys?
Afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon, Munir.
Yeah. On number one, I checked the monitoring and evaluation of carpentry and apprenticeship program, POE, for the students. The purpose is taken from the national, which is also binding us internally, that to train the 30,000 artisans, the target is 2030, using that policy of NDP 2030. My role here is to ensure that the learners' POEs meet what is expected to be to the inside of that file, to ensure that the police meets the expected needs of the organizations, to ensure whether the principles of the organization are adhered to. First, we teach the learners how to compile files. Example, in the files, we've got the code of conduct that they ensure the ethical behavior. The unit standard which are included, they include knowledge modules as well as practical modules. And it also states how many tasks or activities for knowledge modules. For example, one of it is Health and Safety Act in the workplace. And how many activities for the practicals. I chose one example there, the setting out of a building, and all these modules has got a time frame. Here we use a checklist to monitor what is inside of each file of the learner. After monitoring of each file, we give a feedback. This is done every month in order to identify some of the loopholes to the learner. And then on that feedback, we give a learner a chance to fix all the mistakes. At the end of the year, we evaluate all the POE files from the reports those were given to the learners. We measure quality by finished products, which they checked during the practicals. We ensure that the attendance registers correspond with the projects which were assigned to each learner. Reasons for evaluation, we measure progress towards the attainment of learners to provide accountability and better support. Also the purpose of the public relations. When we check our evaluations it does serve the purpose internally, because on 2021 we got a recruitment of 25 learners. We still have that 25 learners which are recruited by 2021. Thank you. I will pause it there.
Okay. Then the principals will contribute to internal policy governance through you doing all those things. Okay? But the principals are saying what was the purpose of the policy and what is it achieving based on what we had and what the objectives were, whether you are meeting those objectives, okay? And the indicators of success. I was going to say to you that at least we have got success. We are, because you'll find that, like you're saying, during your evaluation. All right. So remember that, put that into perspective to say the principles, this is how it helps us in ensuring that we govern organizations well based on these policies. This principle of, ensuring targets are met, okay? It helps us because we can see if, like you were saying, that we are having so many people recruited, and by the end of the academic year, or after specific periods that they are in training, you still have the same number. People did not drop out. Okay, so you see, you are meeting your targets. All right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so include them so that we can see that you are talking about those principles. All right. And
thank you very much.
The role of leadership, you just glided through all the different things that are the actions that the leadership is taking in ensuring all those things. But actually, I've put something there to just remind you that leadership is there to ensure that you get changes that you are looking for. If there are unintended, like it's stated here, changes, okay, what can you do? Okay. So that is the role of leadership in the first instance. But also, goal effectiveness. Okay, is the project adequate? Is the policy adequate? All right. So the role of the leader will be to ensure the effectiveness of that policy in the goals that they've set. All right. If it's not adequate, if then progress is not as expected, okay, then when you go back to reviewing the policy, you can state that. So your role is to ensure that you really, meet the effectiveness of the policy, but also you are looking at the amount that you are using. That's why we are talking about cost effectiveness, that you are not spending more unnecessarily. Okay, so you must be like a bit economical. We talk about efficiency, effectiveness, and economical equity, and we talk about the 5 E's, okay, and empowerment. So cost effectiveness, okay, cost benefit ratios. Remember, you looked at cost benefit analysis when you came up with that policy. Will it cost us more? How much are we going to benefit? All right, so we are looking at the cost benefit ratios. Did you spend more? Did you spend less? Was it enough? And do you still need some extra resources, financial resources, to continue the implementation of that policy? Okay, and you are also checking on participation. Okay, remember you've got representatives, you've got people who are also implementers who help you in the implementation of those policies. So the role as you're a leader, okay, ensuring the proper implementation of that policy is to look into participation of all the stakeholders there who are within your institution. I'm talking about internal stakeholders, all right? That are they really coming on board, so that they don't dodge some of the stipulations of the policy. You see, where they have to assess, they assess appropriately, and okay, so you play an oversight role, all right? But also equality and equity, all right? Are all the learners equally getting the same material? And, you know, are they all getting the best out of the implementers of policies? Like a policy on exams, for example, okay? Are they given equal opportunity, enough time, and all those things? Because if some will write, you know, for 4 hours when they were supposed to write for 3 hours, it's unfair on other learners, all right? So things like that. And you don't discriminate, you know, gender-wise, all right? All of them, whether boys or girls, in your institution. But how sustainable is that policy? You are looking at sustainability. Can we continue with this policy in the next 5 years? Or do we need to review it? Okay? And also, up there, okay, other reasons, you see them there. On page 84.
Yes,
okay?
you can see.
Reasons for conducting an evaluation there. All right? To measure progress towards what? Intended objectives, né? Yeah? By the policy. What lessons do you learn from that so that in the future you can say, no, this did not go right here. We need to include certain clauses in the policy. Okay, you remember? Succession, what, termination, or what? You have to decide on that. The feasibility of an assumption, theory, model. Assumption, remember I said, you assume that the policy will ensure that every learner gets what, okay? The percentage, if then in the moderation, sometimes you agree that, okay, we can give all learners maybe 1.3% max so that we get a certain balance in the marks, or you realize that there's a question which was a bit ambiguous. So it was unfair to learners because almost all of them failed this question. Okay, so you decide, let's give them so many marks. You see, that is when you are moderating. It's like what Umalus is doing. Okay, sometimes they can say, why don't you give them whatever, you know? So that's normally what we do. I mean, I was a marker and moderator for many years in schools. Okay, so when we are there at the marking center, when these markers come, okay, we explain to them this and this and this and that. But our role is to play an oversight role to say, no, you were too strict here. You know, why don't you do 1, 2, 3? Okay, on this question, why did you? Because these learners are right. It's just that maybe you were not aware. Or maybe that thing is not in the memorandum, but they are correct. I mean, the memorandum cannot have all questions. There are others which are possible, but which are not necessarily included in the memorandum, you see. So when you play that role of moderating, okay, or that one of verifying, because after I've done all those things, then we are sure that all learners are treated fairly. You see, when it goes to Umalusi, because after that, Malusi come to the center there and say it's for life sciences, and then we give him a percentage that he wants of some of the scripts which are marked. And then the Umalusi then can look at all those and then apply his black pen there, okay? Because I'll use green and he will use black, or I use black, he will use purple, you see, to say, okay, it's fine, yeah, it's fair. But he can, on the overall, to say, no, in South Africa, all learners in biology, you know, got less than so much. The percentage overall aggregate is so much. So let us add so much. You see, so in a way, is looking into ensuring that the assumption is met. because we assume that learners will get over 70%. Because in an exam, you expect that all learners will get over 70%. And those who get above that, say up to 80%, 80 whatever percent, then those are, learners who are hard workers, okay? And those who are highly intelligent are the ones who can get total and whatever. But majority, a question is set, the question paper is set so that, in such a way that you expect that all learners, okay, are given a chance to get at least 75%. Then above that, it will be those extraordinary learners who are, hardworking and more researching and whatever, okay? That's why we moderate question papers. You can't set the question paper and all learners get under 50%. There was something wrong with that question paper, okay? Because all we're taught on the same syllabus, okay? So to also the accountability, we can account. So you as a leader, you are ensuring, fairness and all those other things, equity, effectiveness and whatever, so that you can account. Remember, you're still going to give reports after evaluation. Evaluation report, where you give your recommendations are, okay, to other stakeholders, to your governing structures, to your department, and all those other guys there, okay, either political or financial, okay, but also you are doing that. The role is to better support the cause. Where there are challenges, you make informed leadership decisions to say, guys, here, let us do this, okay, because somewhere a policy might be quiet on some of the issues, okay, and then you might say, okay, fine, I decide that let's do 1, 2, 3, because you are the overseer at that time. Okay, you see now it's answering this one as the role of leadership. Okay, in evaluation, you are not just there to find mistakes, okay, but also to support the cause, to also support that policy. Okay, so that it is implemented accordingly and equally fair to everyone. But also public relations. You are able to have good relations with the public because they will see your transparency. In short, we can say transparency. Transparency is that even if the public can come and ask, questions, you are able to answer because you have got proof, you have got evidence at hand. So many learners, this is what they wrote, this was the question paper. The policy say we should mark it like this, we should moderate like this, and we followed the due processes, and these are the results. We moderated, and then it came to these results. This is the percentage, average percentage of all the learners, or the standard, or the cohort. Now do you see what we mean by also you foster public relations there? All right. So whichever that you have mentioned, either these ones, but also these ones, okay? Because you focus on these. So that is the role of leadership in the evaluation of policies. Then you can clearly state in your report, because you are going to give report. In that report, you say, these are the things that we found. So as a result, I'm recommending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we go back. Policy changes, okay? Where you can say you can improve on the policy, or you can rescind it, or you can, have that succession of the policy, all right, with minor changes, all right. So the last one, assess the different data collection methods. Of course, that one, I've already dealt with it before I even gave you time, remember? Where we looked at the data collection methods there, okay? And we said you look into the one that can be feasible in your section, all right? Hence we say the different data collection methods and determine which formative evaluation methods are best suited to your organization. Others might not be suited to your organization, okay? But which ones do you think formatively you can use, okay? Now that time in your evaluation, all right, you can find out from the implementers as well as some of the stakeholders what they think of the policy after they've implemented it, to say, guys, what is your thinking? They'll say, no, yeah, the police said that, well, we did 1, 2, 3, but we had columns when it came to 1, 2, 3. There were hiccups here and there because, some members, found it difficult to do 1, 2, 3 and all those things. You see, because you did what? You interviewed them. Okay, focus groups is focus group interview. Okay, you sit with them, interview them, and they, you've got those specialized questions, but you can extend those questions. After a person has said something, you can add on it and make a follow-up on that answer. Okay, so you have got more or less few questions because you really want, those questions must be in such a way that they allow people to talk, to say what they say. All right, they are not, forcing them on one direction. All right, but with interviews, ordinary open-ended interviews, okay, you give them the latitude to say what they want to say individually. Okay, because they're with groups. You remember, you've got small groups. These ones were for maybe assessment. These other guys were for maybe for copying and all those administration. Those ones were, and then you can ask them a group so that you focus on specific groups of certain sections of your department on that police. But now with open-ended, okay, interviews, you are pushing them so that with questions which you want them to, to concentrate on certain issues concerning that police. Okay, so you come with probing questions there, and then they can answer you. All right. Observation, of course, is when you are there and evaluating by being there and looking at how things are done. All right. You can go to different centers, see how they do things, and you record and use a video, or you can take pictures. You say, this is what they were doing, this is what they were doing here, they were doing 1, 2, 3, things like that. From there, you can sit down and, have your desktop research there where you are going to analyze what you got, pictures, videos, and things like that, without, really disturbing the course. You are just there. You let them do what they do, but you are there to observe. Okay, that is observation. Okay. There are others that can work in other institutions. Okay, like ethnographic analysis there. Okay, maybe like in the technical field, you can do that. Okay, because it needs you to understand the tools that they are using there, so you can see whether they handle them correctly and all those other things. Then you keep on asking them some few questions. How do you do 1, 2, 3? How do you? Okay, let me see. Okay. You observe, but you also ask. They are called ethnographic there. Okay. Message of forms analysis there. That's when you are going to look into how people react to what the policy is stipulating to them. Do they do things exactly as they say? And then in what they present, okay, whether they are going to fill in certain required templates or things like that. Okay, you can see as to whether you are getting what is expected out of that policy. Okay, or you can have a group of people who are experts, who are professionals, who observe and interview and do all those things. It's a panel, that one. It's like if you have outsourced it, or if from your department you get people who know the subject better, like some of them who are seniors in the department, and you let them look at what's happening and make judgment and say to you, according to our judgment, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Therefore, you need to review the policy or not. Okay. But also you can have, like I was saying, sometimes you have certain tools that you can use. And based on what the tools are telling you, then you are able to make your conclusion. It's like experimental. I mean, take, for example, when you are testing for an acid in a solution, for example. If you use a litmus paper, it turns like this, then it means that. If it turns blue-black, it's like this. If it turns red, whatever, it's acidic. If it's alkaline, it will, you know. So that is normally equipment trial or experimental, that thing there. Okay, guys. But when you look at everything that you have done so far, what have you benefited so far? What are the things that you have learned concerning police? What can you say about this module? That because other people sometimes think policy, Joy is going to talk about how to draft a policy and, you know. But have you seen how many things it included there? Huh? What's your take on this module, guys? Is it enlightened you a bit, opened up some of the avenues that you were, you know, not aware of, even when you were drafting policies? Now you can see that, oh yeah, man. Huh, colleagues? Anyone? What was your experience with the course?
On my side, I've learned that policy is very practical. It's something which we do in everyday life. So it was like it's complicated, but now we've got a clue on how it starts and how we have to tackle it.
Okay. Thank you on that score. The other guys? The other guys?
Baba Block, I think with me, it made me realize the entire relationship between the strategic plans and policies. Thank you.
Yes, it's saying to me you are muted. I'm muted. Okay, so it says that, you know, when you strategize, when you go to strat plan, whatever that you come up with must be based on policy. Otherwise, your strategic plans might be, you know, outside policies. And they might be challenged to say, but why do you say this is going to happen? It's against such a policy, you know. You know, there are some employees and some colleagues of ours in our departments, in our organization, in our sections, in our teams, who are very, yeah, they see things, you know, they scrutinize almost everything. You know, when you do HR, you've got all those types of people, né? You know, the dominant ones, the what, you know, all those. Okay, so you have got those ones who are really there, you know, the critique, the what, you know, in HR, you have categorize all employees. So in the team. So there are others who will really get into everything and say, yeah, you know, yeah, they went to strike, they come up with these programs. Yeah, these are against stipulations of this policy. You are not even aware. You see. So now you can see that your strat plan stems from the objectives of the policy, what the policy wants to achieve. So you strategize on how you're going to implement that policy. Okay, through action, through programs, through projects. All right. But also, what about policies? Anyone? Something else about policies that you came to realize? Lumka?
For me, Mr. Block, this course empowers me on policy formulation, the importance of a policy, and how do you apply a policy in order to manage an organization. So now I'm having a green light. And how do you live? How do you make a policy as a living document in your institution?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because I agree with you, ma'am. You know, sometimes we as managers face the brunt, you know, because we forget to make decisions based on certain policies. You know, as a manager, you just decide that, yeah, guys, okay, this and this and that, and other members, remember, it's not everyone who's happy that you are there in that position. Ne? Not everyone is happy. They can be laughing with you and whatever, but deep in their hearts, it doesn't mean everyone. You'll always have someone who is, you know, we talked about the force field. You will always have some other people on the left, okay, who are looking, gunning at your position, you know, trying to look at your weaknesses, and they're trying to, you know, such people. When you say what, and the person says, "Kodwa ngamshaya mina," how does that guy come in? You know, or that one, woo, you know, he got it through. What? He bribed. How? So can't you be happy for that guy? That one is. So you'll always have such people. So ensure that always in your position as managing a directorate or, you know, a section or a department or a team, you know, you are sure that you have, you know, all your ducks in a row. You see, you might sometimes fumble here and there, but you remember how we started when I talked about emotional intelligence? That try to be calm in all situations. You know, don't rush to answer in some instances. When people come and march into our office and telling you, yeah, but it's funny. Why, what? I know more especially with education, you know, teachers will just storm into our office and say, but Menier, yes, yeah, I can't anymore. Hey, so-and-so is doing 1, 2, 3, yes. You know, that class, I'm no more going there. Sometimes frustrated by colleagues, sometimes they don't want to go out, you know, when the period is over, but the person is continuing to finish watching. And now your period is being reduced. And when you come in there for your period, you have lost almost 7 minutes to 10 minutes, you see. So someone will come angry to say, yeah, so-and-so does not want to get out of class and her period has been long, that thing. You know, others will come to say, these children, yeah, or maybe these parents. You understand? So as a leader, emotional intelligence, so that the person can calm down also, you see. And even if maybe they are attacking you, because sometimes they attack you in a meeting, a serious meeting where you are going to discuss serious issues. They come up with something which is not even in the agenda. How to bring them back to the agenda? To say, okay, fine, guys, but I mean, I thought here we'll be discussing 1, 2, 3. You see, and it's a burning issue. It's a burning issue. You need to discuss it now. And that person is so vocal. And maybe it's got some 2, 3 people who are supporting that person, because normally a person who does that has got a bit of support on 3 or 4 people, you know. So if you're emotionally intelligent, calm down. Okay, fine, guys. So what are you saying? Are you saying we should cancel this meeting, this agenda, and start a new agenda on that one? I might not have answers because I'm not yet prepared for this, you see. Or if you see they are very angry, say, guys, until you come down, I don't think we can discuss on an equal footing, because I can see, guys, you know, you are threatening me now, and you know, I'm intimidated. I mean, how will I answer? You see? And other guys will say, man, guys, come on, man, come on. You know, try to garner support in a way, but don't say straight that guys support me. You know? But you show your emotional intelligence. I mean, these guys will think twice before they attack you next time. because they end up saying, okay, yeah, but yeah, we must resolve this, yeah, next time, yeah, because you've shown them the reasons. You don't shy away and run away and say, oh, they want to kill me. No, it's your department. It's your man. You are the manager there. You see, so otherwise, what will the SMT say? Okay, but in the case where you are in a government department, you know, large department, also you'll have some guys attacking you via, you know, it's either through emails but not mentioning your name or whatever. What does the policy say about emails? What is the policy saying about professionalism, ethical conduct? You know, so know your policies in and out. I remember we once had one inspector a long time ago, in the 80s. You know, that guy was so good with policies that always when you complained as a teacher and then you say, oh, Minier, I thought the policy on that states that this. And you say, yeah, no, but no, but Minier, you see, these things, we are also managed through that. And he was so quiet and calm. And he would say, you know, okay, it's from above. Can you state what your concerns are? Please, in writing, in triplicate. Who wants to put his name there? You say, no, Minier, okay, fine, yeah, we'll think about it. Because you're not even sure of that police. And it says from above, you know? So you're thinking, I might lose my job, you know? Because you're not even sure of that police, you see. So some guys sometimes make that mistake of harassing you, attacking you, what. They're not even aware of certain policies. So you must always be conversant with the policies that govern your action. Very safe. You know, whatever they do. Because today you can see that people are being filmed, they appear on whatever you call it, TikTok or what, but social media, you are attacked left and right. You know, even when you are trying to do good for the organization. Others want you to be corrupt. If you are not, they look at what they can say about you so that you lose popularity, you lose that thing. Okay, and then you are taken as part of corruption and things like that. When you sign, read first. People shouldn't come and say, yeah, remember that document, what you asked me? Can you please sign here? I'm in a hurry. What I say, okay, put it here, sir. Don't worry, I'll sign it. Can you come after 10 minutes, you know? Because people who want you to sign fast, there's something they don't want you to see. Okay, I've seen some colleagues of mine, you know, in municipalities doing that. And the person is a municipal manager. And they just signed something. The next moment, you see the scorpions coming there. It was during the times of scorpions, you know? And the guy was not even aware that what he was signing was to instruct this and that and what. They say, yeah, you did this unfair, what. You see now. Hey. And the next moment, throwing money in his bank, he said, no, man, I never, you know, yeah. But you have signed. It was written by these guys who wanted your downfall. Okay? And they even tipped now the scorpions. You remember the time of the scorpions. You see, so sometimes, you know it that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Okay, almost, you know, everything comes to you, and it comes with the job, of course. You know, you need to be, what do you say? Do you say egalitarian or what? But you need to be strong. You know, you need to be, but also be, in a way, you know, always a step ahead. When you're alone, think about, that's why we say, as a manager, you must have a unit that deals with risk management. Okay, if not, you have your own method of managing risks, potential risks. What if this can happen? What if that can happen? If you forgot to lock your office, think about what is in that office when you're at home. In my office is this, is that, and there's a document on this and what. The fact that you are thinking about it and you are still on the N4 or the N1 or whatever N that you are using, or M, why don't you turn back? Why do you remember it when you are already on the road? It means it's important. Something is saying to you, Turn back. Turn back, my man. You might find that someone is in your office photocopying it or taking pictures or whatever, you know, because you are dealing with important documents, okay? And you need security for documentation for those documents, because people go to an extent of exchanging documents and you know, looking at your signature and you know how they do it, photo what shop it and what and what. The next moment is you who did 1, 2, 3, and when you try to present the report the following day, it's something different. You say, but guys, no man, this is not my report, and your superiors are listening. You see, I've seen so many sabotages in my life, guys, that yeah, with my colleagues, you know, whether advocates or whatever. In the very same law firm, you find people sabotaging each other, you know, because you are good to win such cases and whatever. You get another one, you know, and the firm gives to you because you are good at that. Family, what, or maybe, you know, with finance and all those things. And someone just sabotage you from your own colleague. Okay, so policies are very important, guys, because it is your only weapon that you can say, but the action I took is because I have a right according to this policy. This policy says this and this and that, and I did exactly that. Okay, and as a leader, here I felt because this was not happening, that's why I took this, you know. And if then every day when you do something and you are aware there's not part of the policy, you might have challenges, make a report. Make a report. This happened today, what, and I did this, I had to do 1, 2, 3, because I realized that this and this and that and that and that. Okay? And then attach it somewhere or whatever and have your duplicate, have your what, and then send it to a superior. By the time the people say, yeah, I did 1, 2, 3, the superior will say, oh, no, but I'm aware of that. No, he confided in me, he told me about it. So what's the problem? You understand? Because other people wait for you to stumble. Just one little mistake and they're onto you. But now policies will help you. They go a long way, policies. A long way. People got scot-free from prosecution because of what of their knowledge of you know, the law, policies, and that govern their practices, or you know. And then those people are in the ledge. Yeah, we thought we got him. Say, no, this guy acted because he was aware of the police. So even when a person, you know, takes you for litigation to say, yeah, we are going to report him. Yeah, we are going to sue him on 1, 2, 3. You know you are right. You know that you are right. No, I'm right. Let them go. Okay? And when that comes, their lawyers will even tell them, hey, guys, you are bugging around 3. This guy's right. You know, I'm just putting it, guys, because I know, you know, with public management, anything is possible. I mean, I've been, you know, lecturing public management since 2007. So really, yeah, I know a bit more about what I'm talking about and what people normally, you know, my students, those who do masters and or those who complete their degrees, either like yourselves. Sometimes others even come personally and write me emails to say, Mr. Block, can you help me with 1, 2, 3, I have such a challenge, what. You know, I'm not a legal expert, but sometimes I say, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? Sometimes situation in your workplace, you know, and you are doing public management. There must be one of the modules that talks about something that goes along that line, and it helps you. You say, oh, yeah, in HR, we talked about this. I think this is similar. Oh, these guys are looking at what. Let me see what the HR legislation is saying. Okay? And then you look at them, so, oh, right, they are looking at this. All right. Finance. Okay, you'll also do, I think, public finance. So know a bit of the that thing of the Public Finance Management Act. No, you know some important issues related to that. All right, so that even when you know you're accused of embezzlement of whatever, what, then you can go back to it and see as to whether was it, you know, misappropriation of funds or not. Can I be charged with this when it comes to that? You see, and you can make informed decisions to use certain part of the budget for something else or not? What steps must you take in order to ensure that you get permission to use those funds? Otherwise, it's you know. Okay, guys, that was my take. I was just trying to be philosophical about some of the issues. But what is your take, guys, on what I'm saying? Is it good advice? Am I wrong? Or you never experience any qualms in your management?
Very, very good advices.
Because it can happen to any one of us. If it hasn't yet happened to you, it's good. Well, it's lucky of you. You are having a good team to work with. But this at least put the light on you to say, oh, man, you know, last time I saw this happening. Let me see if I was right. Let me see if this can't land me in hot water. You know, just refine your management style. Okay, was I too strict or whatever? You know, after you argued with a colleague, you know, when you're alone as a manager, you go back and say, but man, I stooped low, man. Why was I telling that person this? And I remember I answered him this and that. Okay, he deserves it, but you know, people were looking at us, and the other colleagues were listening, and it wasn't nice. Ne? Tomorrow you go back and call the person, apologize, and what, and you can even write an email to your colleagues. You know that is going to go viral. So write that email. Okay, so that it's also on record that you apologize. That guys, hey man, you know, I'm aware that you know, you guys might be disappointed because of what happened yesterday. You know, between colleagues, and I'm very sorry about that. I apologize for any inconvenience, and maybe whatever, you know, thing that might have happened that was uncalled for. And I promise that you know, that will never happen again, and management will look into it. Okay, at least you have said something. Even when you go to that guy and they've seen the email, colleagues will say, man, come on, man, so and so, but it's, you know, Mr. So and so is not that bad. Look, he's aware that, you know, that was not necessary, and we are aware that you were wrong. It's just that he was answering you, you know. But he went down, you know, as a leader, and said, okay, guys, sorry about what happened. It was not my intention. Because they've seen that the guy is the one who was attacking you, you know, verbally and howling at you and whatever. You see? So sometimes it might be difficult, you know, to withhold and, you know, but always try to, okay? People say count up to 10 before you answer. And slowly 1, 2, while the person is talking 3, 4. By the time you say 10, you are not even aware of what he was accusing you of, and you know, you have cooled off. All right. But those are some of the challenges in our lives, guys. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Can we look at where we started, and if you have everything in order as far as the POE is concerned? Okay. More especially with starting when? Or should I ask any challenges up to so far concerning the POE? Any challenges? Remember I said, write what you are talking about, where you are going to do what. Okay. These others, you know, administrative information, you know about it, you leave that for office use, we talked about that. But remember I said you must initial each and every page of your POE, all right? Initial each and every page, but also I read you the rights and the responsibilities, okay? Rules and regulations of the compilation of the POE. I talked about that. Your responsibilities, confidentiality. You sign then the date. And I've explained to you how it is aligned, this module, that you have got these two IDs with those two titles and the number of credits and SAQA, what they call it, and the ID they given by SAQA and the level, and the total credits 260 there. And I said, you know, SAQA SITA is P-SITA, who will do verification, and they'll allocate a certificate with accreditation that gives you certain credits, and your name will appear in the National Learner Record Database. Okay, once you are competent, all right? So that anyone can visit they can visit the SAQA and the SITA if you're applying for a new job or whatever, to verify your qualification. All right. It will be in the National Record Learner Record Database. All right. And I explained about all these things that you see there, that each unit standard has got specific outcomes and assessment criteria. Okay. And I explained what an outcome is. Okay. A specific one. And that assessment criteria is how we are going to assess your achievement or your realization of the outcome, of that specific outcome. We use a criteria to assess you. Okay. We look at whether we're able to do 1, 2, 3, whether this, whether that. And we can see. And then we talked also about embedded knowledge. Remember, I said we take it that you understand these documents, okay? Legal documentation, Public Service Act, Municipal Systems Act, Municipal Systems Act, and Structures Act, okay, and all those. Atopili Principle, White Paper on the Transformation of the Public Sector, Public Finance Management Act, Quality Management, Benchmarking, Public Sector Disciplines, and all those other things. We take it that you know about this as a public representative, okay? And I said I will explain well about the CCFOs. I just said a bit to say if you learn to swim in school in a certain lesson, they teach you how to swim and they give you marks. Like in other schools, there's a lesson for swimming where you have got those guys, tutors who show you how to swim, how to position your body in water, you know, how to have those strokes, and how the legs should coordinate with the hands, hand-leg coordination, body twisting, and things like that. You know, intake of oxygen, and how your head should be held up or high in the water. You know, normal swimming, not that one of experts who do all those things inside the water. You might drown. Okay, but now you get marks. So once you have learned that, you'll be able to help your gogo or your wife or husband or your child when you are somewhere at a picnic and he falls into a swimming pool and he can't swim. Okay, you see, it's a life skill. All right. So which means you can use the outcome that you achieved, okay, in other different fields. Okay, that's why when you know mathematics and equations and whatever, you are able to apply that in a lot of situations. Okay. All right. To solve problems, to do whatever, and all those other things, because you make sense of what's going on, and you know. So mathematics, you know, it opens up your brain. a little bit on some of the issues. Okay. Yeah, not that if you didn't do maths, then something wrong. No. But with maths, at least on a lot of instances, you are able to understand some of the things which might be difficult to some of the guys who did not really do maths. Okay. We know others started with arithmetic and functional maths and whatever. But at least it enlightened you on many aspects. You could see that even in your work, you know, you need that skill of counting and that one of making sense of figures and what. Because remember, as a manager, somewhere, somehow, you'll have to work with figures and calculations and finances, even though you are not a financial manager. Okay, but you might also be responsible for managing a certain budget for your section. All right. So we'll talk more about the CCFOs because there's somewhere where you have to fill in that. All right. But also explained about the purpose of the unit standard, which is part of the outcomes there. Okay. Then we went on and came to the assessment plan where I explained that you have CCFOs. I've talked about embedded knowledge, which should be tested through knowledge questionnaires. You have questionnaires in your summative assessment. I think it's about out of 50. It's just questions that you are going to answer. Okay, fine. We call them knowledge questions. Is this one? Okay. What we're doing is this one. All right, formative. Okay. Now we're going to do this one tomorrow. Okay. We don't help each other there. We are just explaining what is needed there. The CCFOs okay, this I think but we'll look at the knowledge questions. But also, you have got how we are going to report on after the assessment day. That template, I said write your names and ID number and leave this to us. That's why we say, please complete. Complete this one and this one. But you leave the assessor because you don't know who's going to assess you. I might assess you, they might give you, them to somebody else at the Genesis. Okay? I will fill in my names, my ID number, my registration number, and the date that I've assessed you. Okay? You only complete the date that you completed this. All right. This for office use only. I said I will comment on your CCFOs, on your review of assessment, because there's somewhere where you have to review the assessment and the self-reflection, because you have to self-reflect and say, what have you learned from that? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths when it comes to, you'll see, we'll talk about it. Okay, and I will say as to whether you're competent or not yet competent. If then you are not yet competent, obviously I will say the reasons why I say you are not yet competent, and you'll have a chance to resubmit, okay, for the second time and also for the third time. All right, but also for the third time. You see, third assessment. Okay. Then I also spoke, then your signature and whatever. And then this is detailed assessment report. I said I will fill it in because it says all the different sections you have done, whether you have met the requirement on all these specific outcomes. You see, whether you're competent on them or not, all these outcomes. Okay, so on review, I will fill in this one. It's for the assessor. Assessor review. As to whether I'm happy about the method I'm using or that the institution is using in assessing, okay? The tools that I'm using and all those things. Then I can comment if there's something that I'm not happy with. All right. Right up to the end. Right. And then we've got the moderator there. The moderator will also state whether he's happy about, the moderation. Okay. And whether the activities were fair, valid, reliable, practicable, appropriate, sufficient, authentic, or current. The evidence that is seen when he was moderating. If I've moderated fairly, if I've assessed fairly or not. You might say here, no, these results are unreliable. Okay? Because he has a right to critique me. And then he will sign and he will also give me feedback. Mr. Block, can you please ensure that you fill in 1, 2, 3? Please add about 2 marks extra to each student because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Then I'll have to sign here and the date. He signs and the date. It's okay. Biographical information. Remember, I said, don't say I've sent you my CV. Still fill in this, okay, for the CETA purposes. And then here are these are the codes that you can use then. Okay, your codes that you can use for all the things in the template. Then attach the copy of your ID and your CV. Your CV should be shortened one, not detailed so much. I mentioned so in this year, I've been with her for 38 years. Ooh, I love her so much, she fulfills my every dream and what. We don't want that. Okay. We are also married for 39 years, I think this year. But I never tell people. That's why I'm not telling you. Okay. Copy of qualifications. Attach those ones, metric and maybe, highest qualifications, 2, 3. Okay. I'm still a Standard 6 certificate. I can't put it in here when people want my qualifications. Standard 6, I still have Standard 6 certificate in Form 3 JC. Okay. But I don't attach them. I just attach metric, and, maybe my master's degree. I don't attach a lot, I also have this, I also have that, I also have. There's no need. Okay, formative assessment, we talked about them. I said tomorrow morning, anyone who's got challenges, maybe on something on what we can help that person. Say, no, here you said, remember we said we can answer it like this and what and what and what. You can come in there and say, no, I've answered it this way. This one was on that. Provided anyone says anything, whatever activity, because you can't take them one again tomorrow. Unless if someone says, hey man, activity 21, I on leadership, that one I didn't understand it. Guys, what did you write? Then the other one would say, no man, that one needed this and I wrote, remember that one needed 1, 2, 3. You see? It's nice, we help each other. Right. So after we are through with this, then we'll be looking at all the other things that we need to complete. Okay. So we start with the knowledge questions. All right. The knowledge questions, guys. Here we are not looking for evidence. It says, please answer the following knowledge questions related to the unit standard, embedded knowledge, and assessment criteria. And place your answers in your POE, your portfolio of evidence. Remember to number the answers according to the question numbers if you need to attach additional pages. Okay, because obviously you can't answer this within this small space. So what to do, like I said, You say knowledge questions, POE, so and so. Write your name and surname and student number. Okay. Because what happens is I've seen other people's answers on knowledge questions getting lost, and we couldn't locate and say, but whose is this within the POEs? Because when they bring me POEs, other people's POEs are so mixed up. They're not well organized and things like that. Pages go out and, you know. So if it's like that, we miss some pages, we will not know to who it belongs, you know. Attach your signature down there or your initials so that you can see, oh, this one, or, and then number it properly. If it's knowledge questions, say knowledge questions, okay? But say first, so and so, student number, what, Donald Block, student number 116133, okay? So that if then those attachments get lost or they are mixed up with others, we are able to say, no, this ones belong to this POE. All right. We try. I've seen these ladies, administrators. They try when the POEs come to arrange them nicely. But sometimes the way these POEs are, guys, yeah, because other people, what happens is they collect them and bring them to Regenesis. They give to one person. How that person mix them up, we don't know. Okay? So we are trying to protect your POEs there. Because what is going to happen? You look at these questions, say knowledge questions, okay? 6.2.1, knowledge questions. I'm going to have written your name and your, that thing, your student number. Okay, then you say knowledge questions, okay? Write the name of the module also. Okay, policy, and then say knowledge questions. All right, and you know that you attach your signature on each and every page. So that question 1, when you answer it, you will answer it on your own, okay, paper, sheet, whatever. Okay, you type it there, answering it. Okay, when you're through with all these questions, because there are about 5, I think, yeah, it's about 50. When you're through with these questions, you attach them after this 6.2.1. Attach them after this page. So that when I look at this, I can find the answer on the next page. If you put them at the end of your whole assignment, it means I must go right at the end to look at your work. And sometimes those things at the end, some pages, because maybe they were not fixed well on the covers, inside where you have your POE. Okay, but if it's after this, it's easier for the assessor also. Okay. Yeah, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us look at this summative assessment knowledge questions. Describe the local, national, and international context of resolving public sector policy challenges and problems. Okay? Context. Okay. What are those things that either locally, nationally, or internationally is done to resolve public sector policy challenges? When we've got challenges with a policy, okay, what normally do national government do or local government? For 10 marks, what will you say? 2, review diversity management tools studied in previous modules. Previous modules. diversity management. Previous modules. Have you done HR?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we have.
So if we say previous modules, in HR, you talk about diversity. Okay? How do you manage diversity? Which tools do you use? So explain how this could be used to address participatory problems related to policy implementation. Remember, participatory problems. Remember I said other people might be, some policies might be against certain values of other people, others aspirations, okay? So in managing diversity, you have got those guys who are having strong religious, convictions. Either they can be Hindu, they can be Muslim, they can be Christian, they can be what. There are some policies which they will criticize, okay? So in using diversity management tool to accommodate those people, to try to understand them, okay? How are you going to use those tools? Which tool will you use, okay? Because those people might not be willing to implement a policy to say, You remember yesterday I was giving example about abortion. To say religious sector is against abortion. Okay? It's their values and their aspirations is that they want to see what. But I mean, if it's a law, it's a law. They have to implement. So in managing diversity, what can you do? All right. 3, explain the link between policy implementation and program design. Okay. Now, someone was saying, what I've learned is that policy is linked to strategic planning. Okay. And remember, at state plan, you come up with programs. Okay. So what is that link between policy implementation and program design? Can you implement a policy as is on a larger scale without a program? All right. I'm talking at local, national, whatever level. I'm not talking about these small policies which are departmental. Okay, smoking policy, absenteeism policy on absenteeism on or late coming or whatever. Okay, those are just regulations which stem from certain policies up there from the Department of Public Service and Administration. All right. Actually, you are just those, we just call them policies, but actually those are regulations. Okay? The do's and don'ts. They are not really a big policy, because they don't have all those things to remember a policy, introduction, what was the problem, all those steps of coming up with a document of a policy. They don't have that. Okay? They are just for operational purposes. So I'm not referring to those ones. Because those ones don't need programs, né? They don't need projects. All right. I'm talking about, national and provincial policies which are implemented through programs. So what is the link there? All right. Use an example from your workplace to explain the factors policymakers need to consider when designing policies. Okay. This one is easy because you are going to look into your workbook and you can talk about it. Illustrate the process you would use to practice, orientate, and structure program evaluation research. Okay. Now you go to your workbook on evaluation. Okay. Then you will see the process that you can use in program evaluation research. All right. So let me say, guys, I will leave you for now because I can't say get 10 minutes and we'll see how we can help each other answer this. Okay? Because these are summative, remember? We're not supposed to help each other. But we need to explain what they need, what is needed here. What is needed here? On this one, what is needed? But it's for you to say, on this one, guys, I think we should look at 1, 2, 3. On number 2, I think we should look at this. But we don't really delve into them because everyone has to answer this on his or her own. Okay, no. Iyazwakala. Iyazwakala. Kan jullie het verstaan? Is het recht? Is daar nog iets wat ons moet bijvoegen? Okay. And also, tomorrow we'll also look at the CCFOs, what they entail. Okay. Because I've seen in CCFOs, in your POEs on other modules, I wasn't happy. So my question was, if they say CCFO, identify. And the person said, yeah, I was able to identify a lot of things in my workplace. Amen. Yeah, it's not right, no? But other guys, really explain how it relates to what they've learned. Okay? So it's fine. After the CCFOs, candidate review of assessment. Now, sometimes other students do not fill this in because they feel, what if you are not happy with how I've assessed, né? And you have already filled this in. So we say, okay, if you feel strong about it, you can reserve, you can have a reservation about this. And then wait for the results. After you get your results, you will be sent this. You will be sent this via your email or whatever. To simply just fill it in and sign. Then it is attached to your POE. All right. But remember now, we must know who you are. Okay, who are you? Name and surname and initial. Some people even go to an extent of even writing there. What do you call it again? Your registration number. Okay, which we call the student number. So this does not mix with other people's work, and you find that we miss inserting it into correct POE. Okay? Candidate self-reflection. The strengths, weaknesses, future improvements. We'll also talk about that. What you really need to write, you can't just say, others say, weaknesses, time management. Strengths, they say, patient. Okay? Or they say, sympathetic. Future improvements, they say, waking up early. Guys, it's not at your level, that one. Okay. Then appeals procedure, all right. If you're appealing, okay, then I'll explain this. I'll explain this, but also recognition of prior learning, I'll also explain it to you. Okay, and I'll explain this schematic representation, this. All right, RPL, what it means, and how do we do it at Regenesis? Okay, pre-assessment agreement checklist. That is tick that I've talked to you about this, I've talked to you about that, I've talked to you about that. National Qualifications Authority. I've talked to you about unit standards. I've talked to you about your right and right to, okay. Application for assessment, which is very important. If this is not filled, we're not supposed to mark your assignment or your POE because you did not apply for assessment. Hey, lights are back. Okay, electricity is back. At least I can see. My battery was just about to finish from the laptop. So it's charging now. Okay, declaration of authenticity, and then copyright. All right, I'll explain that. All right, and after that, then we'll get into this one, practical assignment, what it needs, and all those things. You see, we can do this, all these things, and by 1 o'clock we are through, ne? Tomorrow. I got it, guys. There's not much to do. Okay. In the morning, we can look at if there are any challenges from our formative assessment activities. If not, we continue, we look at the CCFOs and all those other things. Okay. After tea, we help each other with the, okay, what do you think is needed for those knowledge questions? Okay, there are only 5. This one, what do you think it needs? This one, what do you think? So people should have an idea, oh, this one, or, you know, but we know you are going to do it on your own. But at least you have an idea. And then summative assessment, I will just explain those questions and what you need to include, and yeah. Then we are through. It's lunch. We go home. Okay, guys. Are you happy?
Yes, we are, sir.
Okay. Guys,
yes.
Let's call it quits. Let us call it quits now so that we rest. I can see some guys even yawning. Oh, okay. So thank you, guys. Let's meet tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Don.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
please attend tomorrow. You know, people have a tendency of not attending on the last day. But please attend because we'll knock off early. I promise you. I keep my word. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your evening.
Okay,
Enjoy the load
bye.
shedding, the 4 hours load shedding.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yesterday we had 5 hours. Took the lights at 7, came back at 12. Then at 2 again, whoop, until 6 in the morning. And you've seen earlier here, they were gone. But this time it was 2 hours. No? Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.